everyone, welcome to the Girls Corner. So we are still in the series, the Girls Corner, as I mentioned earlier, and today Karah is gonna be joining us. We are gonna talk about, what are we talking about, Karah?
Mental health.
So Karah is really passionate about mental health and everything around it, and so I'm excited to have her discuss it in Black families, because if you haven't noticed, Karah's Black, I'm Black, surprise! But we're gonna talk, shocking, we're gonna talk about it and like how sometimes in Black families it's not really discussed, and then also like how we can help, because I'm not really aware about the mental health industry or that whole department. And so it'll be great just to understand and be able to help people who are struggling with it, or just how I can support or identify it. So before we start, I have some fun questions for you.
Okay.
I really like this color on you, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, describe Karah in one word.
Wow. One word.
I'm like,
I was gonna say indescribable.
Indescribable.
But that's not fair. So I'll do a second word.
Of course, Karah
So
will
I
cover
will
something
do-
like that for herself.
I'll do a second word. Complex. I really feel like there's so many boxes I could have put in, but none of them were
Give me an example.
so complex.
Okay, what box would
Because
someone put
I
you in?
can be very creative. I can also be like very like serious.
Okay, that's
I have
true.
multiple sides, so I feel like the word would have to be like complex.
Yeah.
You know, multifaceted.
Yeah. It's like on the one side she's like this full-on lawyer hitting you with facts, and then on the other side you have like a photography page or something like that.
And I can
Okay.
be very jokesterish,
That's true.
silly.
Yeah. We actually said it on the girls. There's a video I have with 3 of my other friends, and we were like, you, the jokester of the group, like you just come with these random jokes. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Pretty
I see
funny.
that for you.
Yeah.
What is, like, if you were ice cream flavor, what flavor would you be?
An ice cream flavor? There's like a coffee flavor. I think I'd be that
Oh
one.
yeah, that's my flavor.
What's it called? Like, it's not just called coffee ice cream. There's like a
It's
certain type of
something-
coffee.
Coffee.
But I'd be that flavor because I love coffee. I drink it all the time.
Okay,
And it tastes
favorite
good.
favorite book.
And it's brown.
Oh,
All the things.
it tastes good.
Favorite book ever in the world, in life. Well, this is a book. I don't know if it's my favorite one, but it's a book I was just talking about. You were there at dinner. God Speaks Your Love Language.
Oh yeah.
It's just a really good book.
Yeah.
It describes the way we're like made.
Oh yeah. You do speak about that one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It's actually on my list to read, because I was like, I heard it from you. And
It's
I was like,
good.
yeah. Okay. Who was your childhood crush?
I knew that was gonna be your question
What?
when you were writing.
What was gonna be my question?
Okay, Little Bow Wow.
Ah!
And I won't say that. Never mind.
And who? Tell me.
Just Little Bow Wow.
Okay. Bow Wow was your favorite. For
He's
how long?
cute.
How long did you have
And
a
then
crush
it
on
like
him?
went into Chris Brown.
All right.
They both have like similar vibes. Only one is short and one is tall. But I think like how they carry themselves.
The same.
Back in the day. Now I don't know what those guys do, but
Do you have a crush now, like a celebrity?
no.
And no
I
good
don't.
pretty parts. Okay.
No.
I won't put you on blast. I
No,
will not.
no
Put
blast.
let me not put you on blast. Okay, so mental health. Tell us about it. How do you know if someone is struggling with it?
How do I know if someone's struggling with it?
Mhm.
As a professional.
Yeah, no, your person.
Well, these days I feel like everyone is. I won't say everyone, but I feel like it's more normal for people to share like mental health.
Mm-hmm.
To say like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, or like my mental health is bad. I've been depressed. Like I feel like we're more open these days. I don't know if you would agree with that. Do you think so?
I feel like people say more, but then I feel like it's also right now, it's like the natural hair trend. Like when everyone went natural, you know what I'm saying? I feel like now sometimes, I'm not saying people are not going through it, I just feel like how do you know you're really going through it? Because there's some people that I feel go for medication and they're diagnosed with it, and then there's some people that just say it because of the likes and the views, and it's like mental health month and that whole thing. And so I never, like, I don't know how to tell. And then also like the signs, like how do you know if someone is struggling with it? Because I always thought, and this is not a professional opinion, it's like you see somebody who is like put together, dressed well, and then next minute it's like they don't care about their body image, or they don't. Is that like a sign of it? Or like,
I think it can be many signs of it. Like, people are different, so the way they present is different. Some people, they could be struggling with mental health and like you'll never know.
Okay.
Because they're like high functioning. And there's others who are very open naturally, so they'll tell you, or you can just kind of.
Of course. Of course, someone wants for me. Yeah.
Or you can just kind of tell. So I don't know. There's no formula for knowing.
What about the top
I guess just look at like patterns. So like if this is someone that you know in your life.
That's what I want to know.
Like if I'm struggling and I usually like always call you at a certain time, or like I always see you, and then I'm not there, or I'm not showing up, I'm not as talkative. Like that could be a sign that something's going on. Like patterns.
What made you become interested in it? Because you, like, out of all my friends, you talk about it, or you're an ally or advocate for it. For like, what made you decide to talk about it or focus on it?
Yeah, so I have always been like really in tune with my emotions ever since I was little. Like very emotional.
Yeah.
You know, if I was sad, my family would know it. I would write songs about it. You know, I would express myself very just like openly. Anger, excitement, like even happiness too. So I feel like my emotions have always been like a huge part of me. And then growing up, I was a preschool teacher, and I was working with little kids that had big emotions, and it was hard to like get through a lesson because they'd be like fighting with each other, or like there was just no like, I'm gonna sound like professional.
It's fine.
Go ahead. Regulation. Like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it without sounding. There's no,
go
like
ahead.
they weren't able to really regulate their emotions. Well, I mean, they're young, they're babies, but there wasn't a lot of like resources for teachers. So like as a teacher, I know what to do to manage the classroom because like emotions were all over the place, and I didn't have what I needed to like teach them to calm themselves and stuff like that. So I went to school for it, but really it was just my own experience as a child, and then working with children and just seeing how from a very young age our emotions are a huge part of us, and our emotions are a huge part of like our mental health too, because if we don't learn how to like, the emotions are not bad, but if we don't learn how to like manage them and process them, that's when it becomes a problem.
So if you were a teacher now, knowing all that, how would you change it?
Yeah, so it's actually, how would I change it? Is just like creating resources. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like,
or like what are some
you said you didn't know how to handle the class back then, and then you went to study, and so like if you were put back into the same environment, what would you do different now?
That's a really good question. I think I'd be more comfortable with having those conversations with young people, and not feeling like because they're young they don't understand what's happening with them. You can always talk to a kid about what they're feeling, and they'll be able to express it. So I think not tiptoeing around the conversation, even in the classroom, would be helpful. So having hard conversations, not trying to rush through it, not trying to like put my lesson above them as people, as little human beings in my class, and just like, okay, well in this moment everyone is flipping out, so we're going to address the fact that everyone is flipping out, and not we'll get to the lesson when we calm that down. Because if you're flipping out, you can't even listen. And that's true for adults too. In life, if I'm like flipping out, I can't focus on my work, school, anything. I need to like address what's going on.
Okay, so address the mess.
Address the mess. Hashtag address the mess.
Okay.
Yes,
so now, how do you address the mess?
That's a great question. Me personally, I like to write. So anytime there's mess happening, which mess is a harsh word, but we'll use
No,
it.
I call it a mess because like I know when I have a lot. This is what, of course.
Silence your phone, ma'am.
Silence. It is. But I was saying like I know when I have like, because I'm on the screen the whole day or like social media and all this stuff, I feel like sometimes there can be like, and my host kid calls it, I need a brain break.
Yeah,
and so sometimes I can feel
wise.
Physically that like it's like physically, I don't know how to say it. It's like physically, I'm just like, oh, my brain is dead. I either have to like get up or like watch mindless TV, which doesn't help either.
Yeah.
So like, how do you, or as you said, when I'm feeling like anxious, I feel like a lot is happening. I journal it all down, and then I feel like, okay, I have some form of control, even though I know I don't have control. And so how do you clean up the mess?
The mess. Yeah. I think writing, it does help with like the form of control. Like if you guys have ever heard the Serenity Prayer, it's something I say all the time. Like, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Change the things I
You said all the time that you like.
I got nervous. Sorry.
Wait, I've never heard it. So God, is it an American thing, or like if you're South African or from another country?
Let me get it
tell
out.
me.
I got nervous. Okay.
God, the serenity. I say it all the
God,
time.
it's grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? So when you write, as you said, Angel, it helps you like feel like, oh, there's a form of control here.
Yeah.
Because on paper, like after you're done, you can literally, and I've done this, like look at the different sections of what I have written and say, okay, these things are under my control. These things are things I need to accept because I can't change them.
Okay.
And like that wisdom that we're praying for can actually come from just getting it out, whether that's talking or writing it down. For me, I'm a visual person, so writing it, seeing the words helps me like separate it all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah. I love it. I've never thought of like, I definitely write it out and then I read it back to myself to be like, girl, you just were dramatic, you know? But I never thought of like moving it to like what I can control and what I can't control.
Because it's all in there.
Yeah.
And that mess, it's all in there, but because we want to control everything, or we feel like, I feel like there's two extremes. You write it all and you're like, okay, I want to control it all right now. Or you write it all and you're like, well, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You either want to do it all or do nothing. But there is like a middle ground where it's like, well, I can, like if my apartment is a mess and I'm stressed out, I can clean it up.
Yeah.
Like I do have like 20 minutes to pick stuff up, put stuff away.
Yeah.
And I don't have to feel so overwhelmed just because it feels like so much more. You know what I mean? Like you can take one small step.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about dating. And the reason I said let's talk about dating is like, let's say you're dating someone who has a mental health problem to a point where it's like, because like some people really have severe problems, and as a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you can see they're struggling with it. They want to get you help, but you don't want the help. How do you deal with that? How do you, like, you want to bring a professional in to help them?
Yeah. How do you bring it up?
Yeah. Like, how do you bring it up, or how do you get them help when they don't want to get help?
Well, I think the main part that you just said is like they don't want to get help, so you can't force.
So you just have to sit and watch them.
Okay, Angel, we're gonna go back to the Serenity Prayer. All right. So what you can do is suggest it.
Okay.
And you as a loving person can say, hey, I care about you. These are the things I've noticed, and I think it would be really great for you to talk to this person. If they don't want to do it, that's the part we don't have control over. So we just kind of accept it and can't force them.
Okay. That is hard.
And if they don't, are you asking?
If they don't, so me,
Next
Angel.
step.
This is advice for Angel. You know me personally. I'm dating someone, and they have an ish, and would you tell me to stay dating this person? This is for me. This is for me.
Would I tell you to stay dating someone?
Yeah, they don't want to get help. Like I see potential in them. I see like, I'm like, okay, they're going through, it's a phase or whatever. They need a professional help, but they don't want to get it. How do you handle that situation?
That's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It is a hard.
That's very hard.
I don't think there's like a right or wrong
There's
answer.
not a perfect answer.
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
Or are you just asking for right now what I think?
It's not even like, I don't want you to give me like, okay, break up with them kind of answer. It's just more like, how would you solve the problem?
Yeah, I guess I just recommend that you talk to them about it.
Okay.
And I also recommend you talk to a pastor.
If it's supposed to be a Christian.
I mean, you yourself.
Okay, yeah.
You should talk to someone. But then also, like, I think time, like seasons are a good way to like break up our lives. So like 3 months, 6 weeks, something. Give yourself some, after like praying about it, talking about it, give yourself like some time to say, okay, by the end of the year, if I don't see anything different, I may need to make a choice to like take a break from this relationship, just be friends.
Okay.
But like have the conversation and then give yourself, because if you're not married, you're not bound to this person for your whole life.
True.
So you gotta be wise and guard your heart. So I say have the conversation, give yourself a time, and then in that time do a check. And let your person know, like, hey, in this time we're gonna circle back to this problem and see like if anything's changed.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend. But it depends on who this person is you're dating and what he's like.
Yeah, there's like a whole.
What I know about him and all that.
Yeah. So what do you do to have a healthy mind?
Yeah. I think music is good. So like for me, if I'm feeling sad, I'm okay with listening to sad music for a certain amount of time so that I can process and like hear the lyrics and relate to it. This is my creative side. You know, like just feel the feelings. I do that. Therapy is really, really good, helpful for figuring out what's going on. Because, like, we have a part in that. Friends, family, pastor, they have a part in that. But talking to a professional is, like, number one. Do that, for sure.
Okay.
Simple things. You can go out for a walk. I like to write. I have my, like, Instagram page as a creative outlet that helps me process stuff. So, all the things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a stigma about if you struggle with mental health. Like now it's slowly like dimming away.
Yeah.
But before, when people said they were struggling, they were instantly put in a crazy box or like there's something wrong with them. And because of that, people were afraid to tell their parents. And now what Angel Hutchinson has found, and I'm going to speak about Angel Hutchinson and her people in South Africa. I don't know about the black families in America. I found that people, well, my generation's starting to say it, but I found when people say it back home, that instantly there's a word they say, "Uyashanya," which means you're going mad, or there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you. And so, how do you encourage people to tell their families that, hey, I'm struggling with this? Because some people, weirdly enough, some people have disclosed it on social media or in DMs, but they have never told like their parents because they know their parents are not on social media.
Yeah.
Or that kind of stuff. So how do you advise them to go forth?
Yeah, one, it always starts with ourselves. So like, I would myself want to be comfortable with the fact that I'm struggling with something mental health wise and like accept it within me first. So like, I got to be comfortable with it. Because you can't control it. The control thing, what you can't control, what you can't. It's just a thing.
It's a thing. Yeah.
And
it's like,
really, it's really important for our mental health too.
Yeah.
But like, once we accept it, we cannot control what our family thinks of it. So like, going into the conversation like that is going to be key, because they may react positively and be super supportive, or they may say something's wrong with you and we don't, we don't understand this and we don't want anything to do with it. And either way, like, if you're okay with you, it will help that conversation. And again, like, having just a support system outside of your family is key too, if you can. I know sometimes it's hard for people because like it can feel like you only have your family, but getting a community finding a church home is great for getting in community. Join clubs based on your hobby. Like, make sure you have supportive people around you. In the case that your family doesn't turn out to be supportive right away.
Yeah.
You want to have some type of a support. And God is for you. So talk to Jesus.
So I want to know, I may be judged for this, but is it like a triggering, like, do you get triggered with mental health? I don't know. Like, you know, like with certain things, there's like sounds or places or smells that trigger a certain situation.
Oh.
So do you get like, let's say, does it, maybe Instagram, let's say you're somebody who suffers with mental health towards your body and that whole thing, and then seeing Instagram models all the time, is that like triggering? Is that sending you in a loophole? Is that
me personally?
No, I'm saying in general. Is it something?
Yeah, I think it can be something. Yeah. You talking about social media specifically?
No, in general, like,
are there triggers for mental health?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, going back to just self-awareness, depending on what it is that you are struggling with, the simplest, I don't even want to say simple or small, anything really can be a trigger for someone. Mm-hmm. So, like, I know people do talk about social media as a trigger a lot for mental health, especially, like, with comparing yourselves. These days, not even just physically, but, like, people are doing a lot on social media. So, like, I have a photography page.
Yeah.
So, if I wanted to compare my photography page to someone else's, like, that could be a trigger, and it doesn't have anything to do with the way that I look. But, yeah, I think knowing what your triggers are is important. But if your question is, are there triggers? Yes.
Okay.
They're just different for every person.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's a matter of like knowing what you're dealing with and like what specifically is causing you to feel that way in a way.
Yeah, and I think social media can also be supportive too.
Yeah.
Because I know if I'm interested in learning more about like anxiety, then there are lots of like YouTubers. I follow so many like mental health folks on Instagram, on YouTube, and I learn from them. I'm inspired by them, and it's helpful.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's two sides to it. So you can use social media, and this is one thing that really helps me too, is like following people, and I think we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Following people who are like positive or adding value or helpful.
Yeah.
And that's the power of it. Like, we decide who we follow and what we watch.
Yeah.
So make it work for you. It's your page. It's your account. Follow people who are good for you.
That's a good point.
And when I say good for you, I don't mean who just confirm all your stuff.
They have to challenge you too.
They should challenge you.
Or like inspire you to want to be. Like,
they should push you. Like, it's okay to feel convicted by what someone is saying. Mm-hmm. But if you're feeling bad about yourself, then maybe like, again, check in. Like, why am I feeling bad about myself? Is it because I just don't like what this person is saying and it's challenging me, or is it because this person is just not good or aligned with my values?
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
That's good. So,
yeah.
Well, how do I help someone that has come to me and told me, let's say for example, they came and they told me they're struggling with it. How do I support them?
Like if someone said, oh, I'm depressed.
Yeah, like how do I? Because it's like, I've seen people that are in my life say it on social media or say it in person, but I'm not aware about the whole, like I'm generally clueless. Mm-hmm. But so how do I help if I want to help? Or like what's like, besides sending a gift basket, that's great, but like how do I physically be like, hey, okay, you're gonna make it through this? Yeah,
I think asking sounds very simple, but just saying like, hey, what do you need? How can I be there for you? Mm-hmm. And if it's something that, you know, you personally haven't experienced, it's okay to say, I don't know what it feels like to be depressed, but I'm, you know, I see that you're struggling with something. I care about you. Like, how can I be there for you? Okay. It just opens the door. And maybe you have a friend that will tell you what they need, or maybe you have a friend that's like, well, there's nothing you can do. Yeah. Or they don't respond. And I think that's okay. Like, you got to let people, being patient with people, with our friends is important. Yeah. So, like, just knowing that their reactions to you is not about like us. It's just how they're dealing, I think can be very helpful. Your physical presence, and I'm not gonna get too deep right now.
You can't get deep. Go deep, girl.
I'm not gonna get too deep.
Go deep, girl. Go deeper. Go. You have my permission and the whole
squad.
Alright,
I'm gonna get deep. Alright, so one of my moments, I'll share about one of my moments. And it was like in college, after my father had passed, I was going through a really dark place. And I was, crying, doing the thing, and praying about it.
I think, okay, yeah.
And I just want to talk about being there.
Yeah.
And so, like, our relationship with God should ideally reflect our relationship with other people.
Yeah.
And I won't say God came down and gave me a perfect answer, because he did not. But I did in that moment feel his presence. And like in that moment, that was enough. It was healing. And like our presence may not have the same effect as God's presence. I'm not saying that. But we can mirror that same love and just be there for people. We don't have to have a perfect answer. We can literally just like walk through it with them. And like that is healing enough sometimes. And sometimes it's what people just need. Like they don't need our wisdom. They don't need our answers. And we don't have them all the time. So like as a friend, feel like just you is enough. Yeah. That's what I'd say.
Okay. That was meant to be my last question, but I thought of one more.
Okay.
Because like I was listening to what you were saying, and how would you encourage somebody who's walking through it, okay, they still figuring out, but they feel so much shame. What would you say?
Yeah.
Like if this was a friend of yours. Yeah. You could put this is your best friend, her name is Shaniqua. How would you encourage Shaniqua? Childhood best friend. You guys stole candy together.
I'm trying to. What would I say to her?
Yeah, she just feels like she knows she has a problem. She's walking through it. She's trying to figure it out, but she just feels so embarrassed and shameful about it. Oh,
Shaniqua. I'm thinking about Shaniqua right now.
Wait,
I'm processing
I know where I got Shaniqua from. I was like, why did I think of a Shaniqua out of all names? Okay.
All right, Shaniqua.
Shaniqua it is.
I'd say, girl, it's okay.
Girl, get it.
It's okay. And it will not always be like this.
Yeah.
I will take y'all to church. But I'm not going to take y'all to church. There's a song. But it won't always be like this. It's okay. And like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
In your lowest, in your highest moments, I'm here for you.
Yeah. So basically my big takeaway from this is just sit and be there.
You just be there.
It's like funny because that's what I say to people with grief whenever somebody asks me how, like let's say their friend's going through something or one of their close friends has lost someone and they ask me, I'm always just like, just show up. Just sit and be there. They will talk when they're ready.
They will talk when they are ready. And as long as you're just making yourself available, they'll know that you're a safe person to talk about it with. And I'll say one thing. I was listening to Dr. Anita Phillips. Highly recommend her. She has a sermon called Good Ground. And she was talking about like just the way like different plants operate. And she's talking about grass. And she said, like, grass is healthy when there's a lot of it, like all together, all around. Yeah. But when you see like little patches of grass or like one blade, you're like, well, that's not really healthy. And she's saying like God's design for us was to be in community, like healthy grass. They're all together, tight. And so I think that's the same for like our mental health and supporting one another. Like we need one another to go through stuff, not to fix each other, but to just like be blades of grass.
Stuck to one another.
We're blades of grass. Angel, you're gonna knock over the water. We're blades of grass.
Okay.
We're going through life together. Don't do life alone.
Don't do life alone. Even though I always be like running away.
We're grass.
With grass. Now I'm not gonna forget with grass because I'm like I hate patchy grass, but hey.
Nobody likes patchy grass. Yeah. And it's
Karah's actually taking us to church. Just by the way.
And don't be, and I just want to speak to the people who are patches of grass, because I was one.
Yeah, we were both actually. Hey, we both. It's funny enough, we both like those people who like being on our own.
Independent.
I legit, we have. Well, I'd say for both of us, we both have to force ourselves to
be blades of grass.
Yeah. We both have to force ourselves to hang out with people.
I would be one blade of grass, and that's not healthy. So like for those of us who do feel like patchy grass, and that's where we're comfortable, that's okay. But understand, like, God's best, your best option is to be in community, because when you fall, you have people that can help you up. They can walk with you.
Okay.
All right.
That's it. Y'all, Karah took us to church.
I'm not sorry. I don't apologize.
Yeah, she's like, Karah, I was like, none of my girls. Well, you guys just went to church. I'm back. Anyway, and thank you so much for coming on. I am here for it. I am here for church. I am here. I'm excited. I hope it answered. I definitely now I'm like, okay, at least know how to help some people. Yeah. And I'm probably gonna come back to you and be like, Karah. Yeah. I stole this from somebody else's podcast, this question, but I'm gonna use it. Okay. A wise woman once said, fill in the blank. It can be a woman or man. What was the wisest thing you've heard or somebody told you?
Give yourself time.
Oh, that hit the soul.
Give yourself time.
Oh, that's good. That is really good. Okay, and since you went to church with us today, one last thing. Your favorite scripture?
Ooh. I mean, my go-to, Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not into your own understanding.
Not everyone knows the Bible goes
I'm
to
sorry.
church.
I'm sorry. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not into your own understanding.
Okay.
So hard to do.